I just finished my coaching just about 10 minutes ago, and one of the things that was picked up is that sometimes I can be quite pessimistic. And this is a common theme that I've noticed over the last couple of weeks with many of the clients that I see, is that people may often adopt quite a negative lens of things when maybe things don't go their way. And with it being picked up with myself, and of course me picking it up with my clients, I'm starting to notice that perhaps it's a very common thing that we do often. And so in the session we used the example of me not getting a job, and I didn't get the role, and having the thought that I wasn't good enough. And through discussions, it's really important to understand where they come from and how I can overcome them. And one of the things that was brought up is that I struggle to think of alternatives when I'm in that state. So when I didn't get the job, I said I wasn't good enough. And I was asked by my coach, what are the alternatives? What else could it have been? And I really struggled to think of anything else outside of myself and my capabilities. And so my coach actually posed to me an analogy, and I want to share this with you today because it really got me thinking. And he said, you wake up, you look to the right-hand side, and you see that the ECG device or heart rate monitor shows a flat line. And he asked me, what do you think this might mean? Now, immediately, with no thought or hesitation, I actually turned around and said, well, you're dead. And he went, well, maybe. Or it could mean that it's not connected properly. And it really got me thinking. And he went on to say that very rarely is it the outcome that affects us most deeply, but rather it's the story that we tell ourselves about that outcome that affects us so deeply. And so it got me thinking, what story did I tell myself when I didn't get the role? That I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't experienced, that I wasn't the right person. And so we did an exercise, and it was consider the alternatives. What else happened in the interview where it might have gone against you or might have determined the course of that role? And I said, well, immediately my mind went blank. I experienced brain fog, maybe a little bit of nervousness crept in there, and yeah, my mind just completely went blank during that time. And he says, and if we were to adopt that as a story, what would that look like for you? And I told myself, well, I didn't get the job because part of what happened is that my mind went blank and I was unable to articulate my skills in a way that showed the interviewers that I was suitable for the role. And so next time I'm going to go back, I'm going to practice me articulating myself in a way that I'd like to, and try again. And he asked me, how does that sit with me? And I noticed it sit with me much better than me just saying that I wasn't good enough. And so I'm bringing this today because I feel as if that's very common. And I want to share my own learning from this, being try to consider the alternatives. Sometimes things that feel really, really real in the moment can actually just end up being something that isn't representative of what happened, but rather there are things that we can do to rectify that. And as I always preach in my sort of therapeutic practice, is that in order to change how you feel, it needs to start with a thought or a behavior. And in this instance, it's starting with a thought. Aligning or changing that story and not just adopting the narrative that you had when you had the negative lens. So this is just a quick video to share my own experiences based on the coaching that I just had, and to hear your thoughts. It'd be really interesting. Is anyone else going through this? What did you do to combat that? Let me know in the comment section down below. It'd be really interesting to hear. Of course, like the video if you like the video. But as always, until next time.